Hi, you guys. My name is Jasmine, and I'm the Housing Program Associate at the National Coalition for Homeless Veterans. I hope you're enjoying NCHV's 2021 virtual conference, Charting the Course Together Apart. A few things have unified us and therefore our work over the last year or so, including surviving the brunt of a major pandemic, a transition to a new administration, and a reworking of some of the ways we communicate and ultimately serve those experiencing homelessness through our existing systems. Today's theme is affordable housing, and the sessions will cover a range of topics from maximizing federal resources to seeking out less traditional housing options to the much newer idea of grant and per diem conversion. We all know veterans are not exempt from the hardships brought on by the affordable housing crisis, and that those already struggling with housing instability or experiencing homelessness may feel extended impacts of the pandemic long after the initial periods of recovery are behind us. What may be less obvious is that the COVID-19 pandemic has actually had some positive impact on the conversation surrounding affordable housing and is creating almost this era of opportunity that we're in. Veterans should benefit from some of the increased attention, flexibilities, and funding being made available right now to address affordable housing and homelessness. We all have an obligation to meet the current moment and seize the opportunity that we have. Just recently, increased funding was provided through the American Rescue Plan to produce, preserve, and retrofit nearly 1 million units of affordable housing. More specifically, $5 billion was included for the Home Investment Partnership Program to help create housing and fund related services for those experiencing an at-risk of homelessness. In addition to this funding, targeted funding was also provided for Native American or tribal communities and rural communities to address housing instability and housing shortages. Prior to this relief package, the CARES Act also included funding for affordable housing and related services, increased allocation for the Community Development Block Grant Program, and Emergency Solutions Grants Program was included in the CARES Act. This year, we also saw historically high allocation for the nation's Housing Trust Fund. There's more money being made available to address supply shortages, but also to give greater access to existing housing options using emergency housing vouchers, short-term and temporary rental assistance. As for NCHV, we really have two ways of approaching the topic of affordable housing. The first way we approach the topic is in terms of increasing supply, and then the second way we tend to think about this topic is in capitalizing on existing opportunities. On the topic of increasing supply, in addition to advocating for existing program funding increases at the federal level, we also work to highlight ways communities and providers can maximize the use of available resources to develop new units and convert or redevelop existing housing. We want to encourage all communities in attendance today to really take advantage of the current moment and seek out current funding opportunities being made available as part of COVID recovery. By engaging with local recipients of these funds to make sure veterans' needs, which likely extend beyond the current targeted programs, are communicated, by encouraging the management of these funds to include newer housing solutions where beneficial, including hotel and motel conversions, retrofitting congregate housing, and other less mainstream but more timely housing options. And lastly, by engaging with those who ultimately control the products we see delivered, including planning and development departments and state housing and community development offices. Engaging in this type of advocacy in the upcoming year will benefit veterans in your communities. By accessing a share of these resources, we can better serve veterans where existing gaps exist and also further the impact of our work by layering these sources with programs available exclusively for this population. On the second point of capitalizing on existing opportunities and maximizing access to units, NCHV encourages ongoing landlord engagement, specifically in looking for opportunities beyond the scope of what we've known in the past to be possible. Current efforts to expand the use of rental assistance programs, coupled with efforts to better meet landlords where they are, and combined with the ways COVID has impacted the rental market, likely created new opportunities in your community. Furthermore, we encourage you all to explore, as we have in the capacity of your communities, to house veterans outside traditional unit types you might be used to. Opportunities for shared housing, accessory dwelling units, tiny homes, and other alternatives provide increased and often viable housing options. And CHV has created several products to cover these topics, including a QAP guide, which will help you become more involved in your state's tax credit planning, a podcast on affordable housing development and available funding, tools for landlord engagement, and other products to highlight best practices in affordable housing program administration, which we encourage you guys all to check out on our new website. This year, we'll be focusing our attention to these ideas in addition to working with our coalition and partners to see universal housing vouchers become a reality. As you may have heard earlier this year, HUD-VASH will soon adjust to accept veterans with varying discharge statuses, which is a step in the right direction. However, by expanding the Housing Choice Voucher program to all eligible households, we can reduce racial disparities in housing, house seniors and families more quickly, and prevent homelessness upstream. All things which also benefit veterans, especially in instances where veterans are not actively engaged with the VA or for other reasons would not necessarily need a HUD-VASH voucher. We'll be releasing an infographic today, both in the conference app and on social media, on the topic of vouchers, which will also highlight our daily research drop. We want you all to engage with us and share your impressions of how this might impact your work, and then go back later if you're interested and take a deeper dive and check out the research products in their entirety. As we move forward, working as a collaborative, though we may be physically apart, we can and will see an end to veteran homelessness.
All right, I know you guys are excited for today's sessions. Affordable housing really is central to ending veteran homelessness and is usually a conference favorite. As we kick off this day, we'd like to thank the Home Depot Foundation for supporting the mission of NCHV, for their direct contributions to developing housing for veterans, and for sponsoring today's events. This day would truly not be possible without your support. And speaking on behalf of the Home Depot Foundation, I'd like to introduce Erica Hadley, Manager of Programs.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this year's NCHV conference. My name is Erica Hadley, and I'm with the Home Depot Foundation. I remember speaking to you all last year in 2020, hopeful that this year we would be together again in person for 2021's conference. Well, here we are, still a video screen away, but I'm hopeful at least that we are taking a turn towards being together again soon. One can hope at least. First and foremost, I want to say a big thank you to all of you. We know that 2020 and even 2021 have brought challenges that none of us were expecting or have experienced before. And while the world shut down, you kept going and went above and beyond to ensure our veterans are safe. And for that, we are very grateful, and thank you will never be enough. I want to give you a quick update on our $500 million commitment. I am proud to say that to date, we have reached over $375 million invested towards veterans' causes, which includes improving more than 50,000 veteran homes and facilities since 2011. We are well on our way to meeting our goal by 2025. And 2021 marks our 10-year anniversary of serving veterans as a foundation, which also means that we've been partnering with NCHV for 10 years. Personally, in the 7 years that I have been with the foundation, this is one of the most rewarding partnerships. From listening and learning to the leaders at NCHV regarding the needs of veterans across the country, to feeling in the know about what's happening at the government level, to being connected to incredible organizations like you. Many of our partnerships would not exist today if it were not for NCHV. So thank you to Catherine and her team, and here's to many more years of partnership. As you might expect, like many of you, our projects and partnerships look quite a bit different for us in 2020. We had to pivot to make sure partners had the resources to not only take care of the individuals that they were serving, but also to take care of themselves as organizations. Our Orange Army, Team Depot, also had to take a step back and get very creative in terms of how they gave back to their communities given all their COVID restrictions. In 2020, we launched a campaign called Operation Surprise, where across the country, our stores offered surprise moments to veterans and frontline workers to do what they could to spread a little happiness. In a second, I'm going to leave you with a video recap of Operation Surprise, and stay tuned for what's in store for 2021. But before that, one last time, I wanted to say a big thank you to NCHV for hosting this amazing event. To everyone attending, for all the work you're doing to serve veterans. We say this every year, but we could not do what we do without you on the ground, serving veterans every day. I hope I'm not jumping the gun here, but I really hope to see you all next year.
It started as an idea.
Home Depot is right there making things happen.
To spread hope and create unexpected moments for our local communities. To help out our neighbors that are most in need. What followed? Human goodness. And surprises that made a real difference. Delivering a little holiday happiness and gifts for around the home. Saying thank you to those serving our communities on the front lines. And serving our veterans in need with home repairs or mortgage assistance. Even inspiring celebrities to get involved to deliver special moments. Sure, it started out as an idea. But working together, those surprise moments, they just kept growing. That's the power of hope. The power of community. The power of putting good into action.
Good afternoon. My name is David Higgins, Communications Associate at NCHV, and it is my honor to introduce our next speaker, Marsha Fudge, Secretary of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Secretary Fudge served as U.S. Representative for the 11th Congressional District of Ohio from 2008 to March 9th to 2021. She was a member of several congressional caucuses and past chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. In 1999, Secretary Fudge was elected the first female and first African-American mayor of Warrensville Heights, Ohio, a position she held for 2 terms. Secretary Fudge's career in public service began in Cuyahoga County's prosecutor's office, rising to the rank of Director of Budget and Finance. She earned her bachelor's degree in business from The Ohio State University and a law degree from Cleveland State University's Cleveland Marshall School of Law. She's a past national president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and a member of its Greater Cleveland Alumni Chapter. Welcome to NCHV 21, Secretary Fudge.
Thank you to the leadership of the National Coalition for Homeless Veterans for inviting me to take part in this vitally important event. I am grateful for the opportunity to join you as our nation faces a tipping point in our effort to end veteran homelessness. According to HUD's most recent point-in-time count, America's progress toward ending veteran homelessness has largely stagnated. In fact, we witnessed a rise in the number of unsheltered veterans. To make matters even worse, our most recent point-in-time data reflects the state of homelessness before the onset of COVID-19, which has only worsened the challenges faced by the most vulnerable among us. At a time when the American public was told to stay safe by staying home, more than 37,000 veterans found themselves unable to do so because they had no place to call home. The brave men and women who have served in our nation's military deserve better. They deserve the chance to live with safety and with security. That is why the Biden-Harris administration is determined to expand housing opportunities for our nation's veterans. Thanks to President Biden's visionary leadership in passing the American Rescue Plan, we have now made available 70,000 emergency housing vouchers for people who are experiencing homelessness or at risk of experiencing homelessness, including Americans veterans. I'm honored to serve as chair of the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness. In the months and weeks ahead, I will continue to work closely with the Council's Vice Chair, VA Secretary Dennis McDonough, to provide greater support for our nation's heroes. This includes efforts to increase access to COVID vaccinations, to champion the approach of housing first, and to pair housing assistance with healthcare and other supportive services. In addition, we will continue to advance our HUD VASH vouchers as the centerpiece of our efforts to end veteran homelessness. And we will work to reduce barriers that prevent the most vulnerable veterans from securing our support. I look forward to partnering with all of you to help give every veteran a stable home. When I think about the mission before us, I am reminded of the book of Matthew, where it is written, "Foxes have dens and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." No person should ever have to lay their head on a park bench or a street corner, beneath a highway or beside a riverbank. We all deserve the opportunity to live with dignity and with hope. I have faith that if we work together with urgency and resolve, we can make safe housing a reality for every veteran and every American who is now experiencing homelessness. Thank you very much and have a wonderful conference.
Thank you, Secretary Fudge. We look forward to the upcoming year and your partnerships. And thank you for your commitment to NCHB's mission. Each year, NCHB gives awards both in the policy space and to our federal partners. So first for our policy awards, and we have two. The first award goes to Member of Congress, Senator Jon Tester, who has shown an unwavering commitment to homeless veterans through his actions and as now chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee. Through diligent work on the CARES Act, GRACE Act, Isaacson and Roe, NDAA, and continued work with current legislation, you help the most in need, our homeless veterans. So thank you to Senator Tester and his staff for all their hard work. Our second policy award goes to a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, Gus Bilrakis. Representative Bilrakis has shown his enduring support for homeless veterans year in and year out. When homeless veterans were in dire need of assistance for their programs, he stepped up and made emergency legislation possible again. So thank you, Bilrakis. For our federal partners, we would like to honor Sam Schellenberg. Before his recent retirement, Sam served as Deputy Assistant Secretary, Operations for DOL Vets. He has been a great partner and worked tirelessly on behalf of veterans to improve HVRP, JVSJ, and TAP, and he's also been instrumental in increasing vets partnerships.